Today we are going to have a seminar on Middle East education and job fair 2020. And I want to thank a few people to make this even possible. And these are my sweet panelists, the technical team, Berkeleyme Middle East Holding in Middle East, Berkeleyme Global in UK, Berkeley, California in US, and training and consultancy divisions. They really work hard to bring all this content and the people on board so they can explain all this beautiful information to the candidates. Now we will move towards our next section. This is a very, very important section because COVID-19 and even crisis, recessions, when it comes, it realized that there should be something we should do about risk management, because risk is around. We have a lot of risk. You have market risk, you have idiocentric risk, you have default risk, you have capital risk, you have business failure risk, and there are list of risks that every business is encountering with. So we need a proper professional now in terms of risk manager. And if you ever heard about this qualification called FRM, which is Financial Risk Manager, which is a top American risk manager certification. So I'm honored today to have my two panelists who are the certified risk managers, and I will let them introduce themselves one by one, and then we will move forward for our discussion. So I will start with Nikhil. Nikhil, thank you very much for taking out time. I know you are extremely busy and it's a weekend and it's not easy to come online when you are at home. So please, if you can introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Musa. So good evening to everyone. And Dr. Musa, at the onset, I should thank you once again for organizing this event, which is Middle East Education and Career Fair. And this is actually an opportunity for all the participants and the contestants here, because I remember during our time, we did not have this opportunity. And we have to just try by getting this information from multiple sources. But you brought everything under one umbrella. Now, yes, coming to your part. So, yes, for me, I am Nikhil Jain, and then I have done my CFA and FRM. Currently, I'm working in Abu Dhabi with a leading sovereign fund, and I'm working there as a project manager. I had been working for almost like 20 years, and I have been working in finance in various areas, but primarily this has been related to risk management or the investment functions.
Oh, that's great. That's a lovely introduction, and you are really thorough professional and recognized in your area, Abu Dhabi. This is, I personally know your good feedbacks. So let me introduce with Noman, and then we will continue the discussion. Noman, thank you very much for coming and taking out your time. I know it's very difficult on weekend, so please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Musa. Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I am Noman Saeed. I am FRM, and I'm working in Abu Dhabi, a reputed bank.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So my first question is, before we go towards what is FRM, how is, I start with Nikhil and then the same question with Noman, that what does it gives a player or a sense that you are a risk manager?
Sure. So risk manager actually as of now is completely evolving area. If you ask maybe actually around 15 years ago, that was not something where actually many people had been interested about. But there had been, you can call it a series of events which had taken place, like this 2000 dot-com bubble, after the 2008 crisis, and recently COVID-1. These were the ones actually when organizations or the financial firms realized that they cannot really sustain if they ensure that the organizations can take care of the risk part of it, and they are ready for such events. And that's something actually what a risk manager does. One, it anticipates or make arrangements for such events and ensure that there is proper sustainability of the firm so that it can withstand any such event and can continue his effort. So yes, obviously, if there are going to be such events, there will be losses, but it's not desirable that the company becomes insolvent. It should continue as it is. And that is primarily the purpose of risk manager. Recently, there had been a lot of other regulations. So the governments or the regulatory bodies, they realized that it's very much needed as of now for them to ensure that the economies can sustain. And they brought a lot of regulations. And effectively, that became now the primary responsibility of the risk managers to meet all such regulations and to take care of the needs of the firms. So as a firm, as a risk manager in the firm, is the responsibility of the risk manager, one, to ensure that the firm continues and remains solvent. Secondly, is the responsibility here for the risk manager to ensure that it meets all the regulatory requirements, all those reports what they need to submit, and they're following all the laws. So this is all about risk manager, and maybe as we talk, we can provide more lights on the roles and responsibilities of the risk managers.
Oh, that's great. Noman, what are your views about the same question?
Well, to me, I'm considering myself very confident after doing FRM, and it gives me an edge over my other colleagues, like what information I have gained in FRM. And it also gives me an opportunity across the globe that my knowledge is up to that mark, and also it enhanced my reputation as well.
Oh, that's great. Yes, after your FRM and your CAIA, which you are about to finish, is you are a recognized risk manager. 10, 20 years before, as Nikhil also said, that risk and compliance, they were not that way in the game. But I can see that now risk and compliance is the future of the world. So you guys, I mean, from a group CEO point of view, I can see you both are the diamonds, and you are the one who can save an organization as a risk manager. So who is the one who is going to introduce FRM today?
Okay, fine. So yeah, let me take this call here, and yes, so my colleague Noman will take the later part. Maybe I can begin with the first part of introduction to FRM. Hold on, just let me share my screen.
That's true.
Yes, please. Okay. Fine. So is this presentation is viewable? Can you see?
Yeah, we can see. Yes, everyone can see. Please go ahead.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. So now let's begin with this program called Financial Risk Manager. So first of all, actually, when we talk about Financial Risk Manager as a program, it had been there for a long time. However, as we talked about, yes, it got the prominence after a series of events which had taken place. And there had been more of the government and the regulatory bodies impetus on this particular program. So this is something what actually the financial firms, the banks, and then different financial institutions, firms, rating agencies, they needed. They wanted to have a benchmark or the gold standard of the program. And that's something what they looked at. So this was a program which was started by an organization called Global Association of Risk Professionals, in short, called as GARP. So GARP started this FRM program, a certification program. Now this is recognized by almost 190 countries across the globe. So that means it's like a global standard. And now it's a very coveted certification when we call someone as charter holder of financial risk management program. So how this program is structured. Sorry, okay. My mistake. Yeah. Before this, let's talk about what is the eligibility of this one. Who can take this exam? Actually, this is completely open exam. So that means even if someone who has passed the 12th standard or the high school, that person can also take this exam. There's no need that the person should be having a certain qualification to do it. It's just that anybody can easily do it. So maybe someone who is doing the graduation can also take the program simultaneously. And even if the person is at a very senior position within the organization, that person can also do it. Because now the regulations also require that the CEOs will also have the responsibility towards the risk management of the organization. So that means this is a completely open course. Anybody can do it. But how this certification is awarded? This is awarded after taking 2 exams. And these are like the part 1 and the part 2 exams. Once someone does it, and after it, someone demonstrates 2 years of experience in the risk management. If someone shows it, that means the charter is provided, and the person is called as FRM.
So basically, who should take this program? The CEO, chairman, accountants, auditors, bankers, portfolio managers, traders, sales and marketing manager, and full-time and level-time students as well. So especially the students who wish to make their career in risk management, they also should consider this program. The program structure, FRM certification is awarded after a candidate has passed 2 rigorous multiple choice exams, FRM Part 1 and Part 2, and demonstrated 2 years of relevant work experience. Candidates must take the FRM exam Part 1 before they take Part 2, and both exams are being conducted on single day. The morning session is for Part 1 and the afternoon session is for Part 2. FRM candidates who are strongly encouraged to earn 40 hours of continuing professional development every 2 years to maintain their membership with the guard. So going forward, there are 2 levels of this FRM, level 1 and level 2. And level 1, which is more basic in terms of risk concepts, like foundations of risk management, it has a weightage of 20%. Then we have quantitative analysis, which covers like more statistical part, like what are the statistical tool available to measure the risk. And then we have financial markets and products, where we learn what types of financial markets are involved and what are the products like derivatives, swaps, futures, and options. Then we have valuation and risk models, where we learn the different models to manage and measure the risk. Then we have FRM Part 2. It has 6 topics, 6 sections, and this level 2, it's very interesting, where you can get the real feeling of being a risk manager in the organization, or where you put yourself in the shoes of a risk manager, how the risk is being managed and measured in the organizations at different levels. So it has 6 sections. The first one is market risk measurement and management. In this section, actually it focuses more on the understanding of market risk measurement and management techniques, like calculation of VAR, expected shortfall, and backtesting for methods. And it also covers topics like interest rate and volatility term structures. So this section has a weightage of 20%. Next is credit risk measurement and management. This section also has 20% of weightage, and this covers topics like credit risk management, with some focus on the structured finance and credit products, such as collateralized debt obligations and credit derivatives and all, and also like how to transfer the credit risk, and the management of counterparty risk, etc. So this section covers the credit risk measurement. The other section is operational risk and resiliency. This section is also having 20% of weightage, and it focuses on methods to measure and manage operational risk, as well as methods to manage risk across an organization, including the risk governance and stress testing and regulatory compliance, like the Basel, how to calculate the risk according to Basel. Then we have liquidity and treasury risk measurement and management, and this section has a weightage of 15%. And this area actually focuses on methods to measure and manage liquidity and treasury risk. Topics like liquidity, portfolio management, and the funding models and balance sheet management. These are the topics which cover under this section. The next is risk management and investment management. It also has a weightage of 15%, and this area actually focuses on risk management techniques applied to the investment management process, like how to construct a portfolio and allocate risk budgets, and how to evaluate the performance of the portfolios like that. So,
That's great. I think Nikhil is already back. So, Nikhil, can you also do it in your way? That will be more, you can say it will be a dual effect, like a dual SIM.
Fine. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Musa. So yes, actually, I know that my colleague Numan has explained it very nicely. But let me tell you, actually, first of all, why do we have the risk? The risk as such is a integral part of any investment or any financial decision what we are taking. So as Numan has said, actually, there can be risk, financial risk anywhere. Is a market risk something actually which is not in our control? The credit risk, where actually we have all those lending, borrowing stuff. The operational side, maybe that's just a function side of us. And then even those functions, like actually how the processes are, maybe that there's something fraud which is coming in the organization, the reputation, the legal side of our contracts. And then we have the liquidity, which is the new entrant within this basel or the regulatory framework, how the bank should remain liquid. And that's something actually you may realize it. This COVID time has ensured that banks have survived, countries have survived, even though economies have been down because of all these risk measures. So it's kudos to all those risk managers, risk professionals who have ensured that the economies and the companies, the banks, different other institutions, they have survived during this time. So actually, we have seen so many other companies, they have not working, they have failed, but still the banks and the financial institutions, which are the backbone of the economy, they have survived. And then the recent one, which is a treasury risk. So that's something, how do we manage the cash and the investment side of it, whatever day-to-day operations. So this is the broader aspect, how the risk had been there or emanating from various aspects of the organization from any financial purposes of the business. Now, actually, where do we see the role of these risk managers? These are almost everywhere as of now, because they touch almost all the aspects. We talk about the treasury. We have the treasury function in all the firms as of now. So that means all the firms are in need of the risk managers. But primarily, when we see it this from the beginning, it's like the rating companies who are providing the ratings or the investment worthiness of the different bonds, papers which are issued by the companies, or whether a bank should lend to a company, directly to the banks who are managing those money for us who are putting that money in the deposits, or the organizations who are borrowing from them. And then the countries, the sovereigns. We have seen so many incidents like the countries which have really gone down, they had become bankrupt. The reason is that because there hadn't been proper risk management policies at the larger country level. Then there are audit firms like the KPMG, all these consulting firms who are there actually, and they require the risk managers now, because that is a very big area for the auditing and the consulting firms. And now there are new entrants, which are the software companies. Actually, they are coming as the infrastructure provider for the different institutions and primarily for the banks. Now, there's a new emergent, that's a fintech. At times, actually, it happens that actually we directly go and then we do shopping online somewhere. But think of these companies, they are also managing money directly over there. And sometimes they're providing the shopping behavior on the credit side to us. That means buy now and pay later installments. That means they are assessing our own credit worthiness and accordingly taking a call on us how much money can be put on us so that they can shop this, they can sell that stuff to us. So now you can see that actually all these organizations eventually are going to be the final users of the risk managers. So the opportunities are immense, and that's opening up. So when we talk about FRM as a certification, it's going to be gold standard, and the opportunities are going to be immense for all of us. So yeah, Noman, actually you can take up, and you were doing really very good job when you were explaining about those two different parts, as this entire program is structured in two different parts, where actually we can go ahead. First is obviously the foundation, and second is now building this entire structure on this foundation. That's the second part. Yes, please, you can take it.
Yeah, thank you, Nikhil. So I was just explaining about the level 2 contents, like what are the sections in this part and what are the weightages. The last one was the current issues in financial markets, and this area actually focuses on the current issues that have recently impacted the financial markets. So every year they are updating this section, and last year I think the topics related to fintech and artificial intelligence and machine learning and the climate change and all. It's all about that. So every year they keep on changing this curriculum. This is also a drawback of FRM, that every year they are coming up with the new changes in order to update related to the market as well. So the next section is the exam format here. For part 1, there are 100 multiple choice questions, and for part 2, there are 80 multiple choice questions. And the exam duration is 4 hours. So if you divide 100 by 4, which is like 2.5 minutes per question. And those questions are like, some are lengthy questions as well, and it's our scenario-based questions, which really test your skills, especially in part 2. The exam duration is 4 hours without any break. At stretch, you have to sit and complete the paper, and timings are very short. You have to complete it in these 100 questions within the limited time. And the exam dates, as of now, the exams are being conducted every third Saturday of May and November every year. Part 1 is held in the morning session, and part 2 is held in the afternoon sessions. So there is a good news for the candidates as well, that we are also coming up with computer-based tests going forward in the next year. The fee structure for the first time enrollment fee is 400 USD, and for early registration it's 425 USD. Standard registration is 550, and for the late comers the fee is 725 USD. Well, there is a latest update which I received over email as well, that they are going to start computer-based tests rather than pen and paper and pencil. And next year they are doing it for level 1 in May, July, and November. And for part 2, for level 2, it will be only December 2021. So now the candidates who are for level 1, they can also choose a window, like from 8th May to 21st May, July 10 to 23rd July, and November 13 to 26. They can choose and attempt the paper.
Yes.
Candidates computer-based test will be in December, and that will be a window of 4 to 10 December. But in July 2021, for level 2, it will be only paper and pencil test. The registration for 2021 exam will begin on December.
I think it's perfect. Like they are moving on computer based because it was an old demand of the candidates that will come on. Let's come on the computer now. And I think the CFA, FRM both this year after COVID left no choice. So it's a good decision that to come on computer based testing, because the rest of the world already moved to the online testings. So it's a very good information, and I think the people who don't know about FRM, they got a good value out of it. So let's have some closing remarks as a discussion that what kind of people should opt for FRM, because I feel that when we sit with candidates, they are in the risk, but their risk nature is a bit different. If you see, lastly, in quantitative methods has been added in FRM, so it's no more unserious effort. I mean, it's a very serious effort, and a curriculum is right on target in terms of quantitative methods and the risk management. So, what you feel that what kind of candidates should consider this course so they feel it aligned with their career? Yes, Nikhil, we will start with you.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Musa. So first of all, actually, let me tell you that this particular program is not restricted to the risk managers. Though actually, when we talk about this particular program, it provides opportunity, or it opens the gates for the person to establish oneself within the organization. And this is the stream actually which has now opened the door for someone to come to the level of the CXO. Because now there is a different position which has been opened altogether, which is a chief risk officer. And that person can easily migrate into the CFO and the CEO roles. So that's the point number one, actually, which has opened as a door for the person to the risk manager. But is it really needed for the risk managers only? Not at all. The right reason is that actually this is something actually which is needed even for the investment professionals. The reason is that because it gives them the understanding to how to manage their own investments or their own portfolios from the perspective of ensuring that the risk is also taken care of. Because in this case, they can understand the definitions of the risk management side. So yes, it is also needed for the investment professionals within the organization. So this is a course actually which I believe is completely open for everyone. But yes, actually, as we talk about actually who should do it, it's open for anyone who has three parts of it. One, the trust on oneself. Yes, the person can do it. Person has the capability and the trust on this particular program that this program can take them forward. And the next thing is that is the trust on Berkeley because Berkeley is going to be helping you, and then it is having a history of helping number of students over the last many years when the people have really passed and taken a shine in their own career. It has really taken them very fast forward in their own life. So yes, this is a program which is meant for everyone.
That's great, Nikhil. I think this is very, very enlightening. And even for myself, I feel that your response to look at the risk is not for the risk manager. It's actually for everyone. And that's how FRM eligibility is no eligibility. Anyone who encounter with the risk. And if we see every business has risk, every individual has risk. So being a risk manager is really, really a nice idea. So let's move to Numan and ask, like, Numan, how this FRM, because you are already a qualified and you are into trainings also. So what you feel that how it transformed your own self before FRM and after FRM? Do you feel a change in yourself?
Yeah, definitely it has stand me out and it has set me apart from other colleagues. And it has given me a different perspective in terms of risk. I'm working in the operations, so I can apply those risks during my working as well. And also it has given me an opportunity to look my career across the globe as my certification is equivalent to international standards. So this has given me.
Yeah, right. These qualifications are high in demand in America, in all the financial centers, cities that we know, Hong Kong, Australia, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh. They are the great employer of these qualifications. So let's move towards the closing remarks. So, Nikhil, what you will suggest to the upcoming people who are interested to do this qualification? What will be your advice?
Yes, actually, I can tell them that this is really a very good stepping stone for them. The reason is that, as Dr. Musa has stated, it has a very good reputation across the financial centers of the world. And secondly, it is also considered as a master's equivalent degree in many geographies. So yes, it can help people to establish themselves within the finance companies or the financial sectors. And moreover, actually, I can tell them this is something where Berkeley can help these guys a lot. Berkeley has a success ratio, very high success ratio of ensuring that students do pass, and it guides them in the career selection process also through this particular program.
Oh, that's great. I think with your assistance and your seniority to the upcoming youth and the professionals, there is lot of things to learn from you as a professional and qualified and a senior in this profession. And I think they can approach you on LinkedIn anytime to get any kind of like information, advice. You're always so nice and accommodative for everyone.
Thank you very
So,
much.
Nikhil, I thank you very much for joining this panel, and I'm looking forward to see you in the future shows with more enlightened and information.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Musa, and thank you, Noman.
Naman, let's have a closing remarks for the day.
Well, I will certainly recommend this course for every individual who is working with the financial services institutions, since it has tagged financial risk management. So I will recommend this course to every one who is in the financial industry, financial services industry.
That's great. I think I am so happy to see you, and I really thank you for taking out your time. And I'm looking forward to have see you in the future shows.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.